This is an opportunity for our public to comment. And I have, does anybody want to comment that has not filled out a blue speaker's card? I have one filled out. This is on items that are not on the agenda. Okay, so the first person that I'll call up then is Steve Klein. And Steve, you know the routine, your name and address, and 3 minutes or so, please.
Steve Klein, from Thurston County, just outside of Yelm. The Department of Ecology verified that Yelm pumped 756 acre-feet per year of an allocated 796 in 2008. That's about 325,000 gallons is what an acre-foot is, which for the city of Yelm is about enough water to serve 3.5 homes a year according to the DOE. Doing the basic math, the city would be over that limit with the current water rights they hold if they withdraw an additional 40 acre-feet. You can do the math, 40 times 3.5 homes is about 140 homes. That said, Yelm has many developmental permits already in the works and approved that have not yet been hooked up to the city's water supply, well in excess of that number. It's a court litigation case that has 568 in total right now. The city supplied to the DOE through the Thurston County Conservation Board for the transfer of 150 acre-feet of water that the city currently controls through a lease agreement. While the city expects this transfer to be accomplished at some point in 2009, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. The city has also submitted mitigation plans to the DOT for new water rights, of which the city expects approval for the first 554 acre-feet sometime between 2010 and 2012. That's 1 to 3 years in the future, if approved at all. Yet the city's water mitigation plan has not been approved and will most probably not be approved until all of the concerns and issues are met. Wishing or hoping the plan will be approved will not make it so, as there are a lot of hurdles in the plan to overcome. For the city to continue issuing approvals for Plat Developments and ongoing litigation concerning water availability at final plat is quite remarkable and illustrates the city's intent to the ultimate degree. What everyone in essence is saying is that you don't have to show an adequate water supply by final plat approval. Therefore, thumbing your nose at a state requirement, the state's DOE, Department of Health, Attorney General's amicus brief, and a Thurston County Superior Court final judgment that is still active under the appeal process. I am on the record tonight to say to all of you that this action is being noticed and will be presented to these state agencies. The city would show good judgment by not approving further developments until all components are in place and the current appeal process has been determined and is well behind you. If you continue to do so, you run the risk of additional litigation from landowners, developers, and citizen activists. Your own staff report on your website currently says the city does not hold sufficient water rights to serve all undeveloped lots within its water service area, but it's determined that the proposed means of water supply for the final subdivision is adequate. Since when do water rights applications equate having water to serve all of the plats the city has approved or will approve without those in place? On April 13, 2005, Yelm resident Bill Hesham, 25-year veteran of the DOE, this man sitting right here, requested of this city council that a moratorium on any further building here be put in place until the critical areas update could be completed. A moratorium that would have placed the then proposed Walmart Superstore approval process on hold until more study and compliance with the Growth Management Hearings Board could be accomplished. So outraged were all of you that were here at the time serving that about a Walmart store here, then City Council Member Iceman immediately motioned for a moratorium on moratorium so that the name Walmart or the word big box store could not be brought before the council again. Councilmember Baker seconded the motion. That act was in addition to Yelm receiving the Jefferson Muzzle Award for not permitting the public to mention the word Walmart in council chambers. Interesting that a Walmart was allowed to be built here with their traffic mitigated by an unfunded bypass. It was supposed to be operational within 7 years of the store's opening and has now been postponed for at least 20 years, thanks in part to the city's push to move right-of-way and engineering funding from Phase 2, the Walmart section, to Phase 1 of the bypass. In closing, I propose rescinding the moratorium on moratoriums and that this city council start to take a look at a growth moratorium here, just as the cities of Lacey and Tumwater are now doing, to bring their growth in alignment with state law on a municipality's use of allocated resources.
Thank you. Steve, you know, I gave you several minutes there on that one, so the next time you come to testify, can you try not to be as redundant with information we already have and get more to the point, because I'm going to try to keep them at 3 minutes in the future. Okay. Must you?
Steve, I'd like to thank you for your mischaracterization and your misinformation that you attempt to spread to the media and to the public. I think we've all seen through it in the past, and certainly see through it right now. As you well know, there was never a moratorium against moratoriums. The motion was, if I can recall it correctly, is that we would not entertain the idea of a moratorium. I went back and looked at the record. I would suggest you do so again, but thank you for your input.
You're welcome, sir. I'm directly quoting from the April 13, 2005 minutes of the City of Yelm on your website. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff report.
Thank you. Staff's presenting Johns Meadows subdivision. It's located off of Middle Road, adjacent to the Mill Pond Elementary, right there on the right-hand side. It's a 42-lot subdivision. The hearing examiner approved the preliminary plat with conditions in June 2005. They have completed the required street improvements, including the landscaping requirements with street trees and et cetera. They've also provided a street connection to the neighborhood to the west, which fulfills our requirement for internal connection within neighborhoods. The plat's also bordered by Yelm Creek to the south, which is being left undisturbed and is also fulfilling the open space requirement for the plat. Everything is outside of the shoreline jurisdictional area as well as outside of the flood zone. Staff has reviewed the subdivision for compliance with the state regulations and the conditions of the preliminary plat, and requests that the final plat be approved by Mayor Harding and City Council.
Okay. Do we have any questions or motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the final subdivision of Johns Meadows and authorize Mayor Harding to sign the final subdivision.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
No, please don't do that. There's an, in the staff report.
Actually, on the, there's a, on the final, on the last page of the plat map, there is a note on there in regards to water rights and building permits and et cetera.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, we are on to item 8.